Hello class 5th. Today we will read the second chapter of your English book, Memories of a Visit. Listen it carefully.
Memories of a visit. It was the month of April, springtime in France, and the best time to visit. I was going to visit my cousin Supriya. I left Mumbai at 4 a.m. and arrived in France by 7 a.m. French time. I landed at the Charles de Gaulle airport just outside Paris. Supriya was there to meet me. We got into a taxi and headed towards Paris. As we left the airport, I noticed there wasn't as much traffic as in Mumbai. I asked Supriya about France. It's about 1/4 the size of India with a tiny population, she said. That means France is not crowded. There is plenty of room for everyone, I said jokingly. Some large cities where there are factories are a bit crowded, but the country has almost everything that people need for a comfortable and happy life. The soil is rich and the sea borders much of France, so there are plenty of good vegetables, fruits, grains, meat and fish, she replied. What else is special? I asked. The French Alps, beautiful snow-capped mountains that people love to visit. There are also rivers and plains with luscious grass for grazing animals. Dairy farming is very popular because the French love cheese. It is an essential part of their diets. You'll also find vineyards on sunny hillsides loaded with juicy grapes. Most are harvested and pressed into wine, for which France is famous. And you already know about French fashion. France leads, the world follows, she laughed. We drove past the Eiffel Tower, and I noticed that it looked more beautiful than it did on postcards. The Eiffel Tower represents France, just like the Taj Mahal represents India, Supriya commented. Paris is a very beautiful old city. I love the white stone buildings that gleam in the sun. People here love the outdoors, the parks and gardens. Some parks have ponds where children sail toy boats. You will find rows of trees and flowers everywhere. Some trees are trimmed so that they look like huge green lollipops. Well, it seems like the people of Paris are proud of their city. They keep it so clean, I had to remark, because I didn't see any litter on the streets. That's why tourists love to visit this city. And Paris, being the capital, is well connected to other parts of the country. So travel is no problem at all. We reached Supriya's flat. From the window, I saw the Seine, the river that winds through Paris like a wet grey ribbon. I noticed pavement cafes where people sat at little tables outdoors, eating, drinking and talking. It all looked very pretty. There was much to see in Paris. I even visited the Musée du Louvre, one of the finest museums in the world. After a month in Paris, we visited Normandy and Brittany, two of the oldest parts of the country. Brittany is a peninsula and part of Normandy is a peninsula too. This means that the land reaches out into the sea, and in this case the Mediterranean Sea. Maybe that is why this part of France felt cooler. Sometimes storms rose from the ocean and it rained a little almost every day. The people here, mainly farmers and fishermen, were quite old-fashioned. They weren't interested in trying new things, unlike the people in other parts of France, especially Paris. We went to see a small museum close to the seaport, which had models of wooden sailing ships that soldiers and colonists had sailed in. They told us how, during World War II, big guns had thundered there, bombs had exploded, and bullets had ripped through trees and gardens. Fortunately, the seacoast and the countryside were very peaceful when we visited. France turned out to be all that I dreamt of and more. I returned home cherishing every moment of my 2-month holiday in France.
Okay kids, you have to read this chapter again and underline all the hard words. We will meet in the next video with the explanation of this chapter. Till then, bye bye.